The North of 40 Club is now open. We're redefining and simplifying health after 40. If you've found yourself frustrated, confused, and overwhelmed by the nonstop Google searches and coming up empty handed, if you're confused and frustrated by the contradicting information, join us in the club where we have a community to discuss things with your symptoms with. We've got a growing library of Pilates and yoga videos that you can have access to 24/7, monthly masterclasses to teach you about what WTF is going on with your body, plus a monthly Q&A where you can come in with questions and get straight answers to your questions minus the Google searches. Book clubs where we recommend books monthly and discuss it based on what your needs are, what stands out to you, community of like-minded women to support you through all of this, and nonstop resources and discounts to wellness tools, applications, and everything you need going forward as we age north of 40. Plus, it has to be fun, so we've got games and prizes and giveaways for everyone's participation and excitement within the club. This is only $33 a month right now, so I would hop in. You get a 7-day free trial to pop in, check it out, see if you like it, see if it works for you. On top of that, you will be learning as I learn, because as I go through my naturopathic doctor program, I will be sharing what I learn as it relates to longevity for women north of 40, to our brain health, and to our hormones, which are all huge and important factors. So join us in the North of 40 Club. Find the link below or find it on the website, nataliesayeswtf.com. Hello, and welcome to another episode of WTF Happened to My Body. I am your host, Natalie Garay, and I'm excited to start season 3. This is season 3 of this podcast. I can't believe I've been doing this for that long. Also, each season is different in length, which is funny to me, but it is a new year, it is a new beginning, and we are starting with a new season. So this episode and subsequent episodes is a part of the series of 6. And this episode and the subsequent episodes are about my upcoming book. I have a book that you may or may not know about that is being launched and published on January 2025. It has been a 3-year process and a 10-year process of the idea being in my brain. But I started this process just before going back to school. And once I got into school, I was like, oh no, I can't do both, continuously. I had to take breaks. I took pauses. I came back to it. And now we are finally publishing it on the 28th. And so I wanted to take a little bit of a deep dive into each of the sections just to give you an overview of what it entails. WTF Happened to My Body, Fixing the Aftermath of Having Kids, no matter how long ago it was, is the guidebook you should have received after having kids. This book should have been handed to you on your way out of the hospital. This book is going to go through each part that needed to be looked at after having babies. That's not to say, and that I will say this until I'm blue in the face, till I rest on my deathbed, it is never too late to rehabilitate. So in these sections, we're going to look at the foundation, which is your physical body. We're going to look at the pelvic floor. These are all areas that I still serve in helping women rehabilitate. C-section, diastasis recti or DR, the energetic body and the emotional body. And then the cool thing about this book is that in part 3, it's all exercises. So whether it's Pilates-based exercises that are going to help you strengthen your pelvic floor or your abdominals, or meditations, which I walk you through here, but there's also going to be a separate link to a meditation that you can download. When you purchase the book, you'll be given a link. There's also some writing exercises to say, hey, check in with your body. WTF is going on. What do you need to look at specifically? What needs to be supported? What needs to be rehabilitated? So is a guidebook, and I take a deep dive into the anatomy and the systems and what's going on, because this is the shit I geek out on and I love, and I could talk anatomy and body and women's health all damn day. So we're going to talk about the foundation first. The foundation is your physical body. Without it, we have nothing, right? We have grown a human in this physical body, this foundation, for over 9 months. Who knows what that entailed prior to? Maybe you were having a hard time getting pregnant. Maybe this is your 4th pregnancy. It's the foundation of what we live in, what we need, and we need to be able to function in order to support these babies that we've just given birth to, whether that's recently or not so recently. The book itself was written with the 40-year-old woman in mind who, not suddenly, but now is, maybe she's an empty nester. Maybe her kids are much more independent and can, do certain things on their own, like tie their shoes, pack their lunches, maybe even drive. And now this woman has finally had a moment to look up, take a breath, and go, WTF happened to my body? What happened to me? And she stopped now for enough time to realize, oh my God, my body hurts. Everything hurts, and I cannot think straight. So that is where the title of the book came from. That's who I'm speaking to. But of course, this book is relevant to all moms at any stage in game. The point is, it's never too late to rehabilitate. So if you had kids 20, 30, 40 years ago, this book is for you. If you had a kid a week ago and you're like, I want to get on this right now, perfect. It's all here for you. You need it. Every mom needs it. So, pause this for a second and send this episode or my book link or buy my book and send it to all of your friends, because this is so important. And that is the reason why I spent the last 3 years putting it together. So the foundation, this is including your butt muscles, your abdominals, your back, your hamstrings, your hips, all of the things that that support you in your daily life. We don't realize how much we need our abdominals until they have been severed and you can't sit up straight, or you can't walk without bending over, halfway over, which happened to me. I had 2 months on bed rest and my body completely atrophied. I was a dancer prior to that, so I was relatively strong. After 2 months of bed rest, I could not get up. I had to use, and when I was in the hospital, of course, they had those electric beds that lean you forward so you can get up. But once I got home, I could not get out of my chair. It was hard to get off the toilet. They told me not to drive. I couldn't get out of bed. It was insane. So the foundation is huge. And all of the muscles that we need in order to have our strong foundation, like I said, the abdominals, your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, muscles that support your back, but your abs support your spine. So when your abs are weak, your back is having to work, triple time. I call her Sheila the spine in the book. And Sheila is pissed because she's having to do all of the work when your abs are taking a vacation from doing anything. And when we don't have the strong abdominals and Sheila has to work overtime, that can lead to other issues. It leads to having a misaligned pelvis, which can then lead to incontinence or pelvic organ prolapse. It can lead to chronic hip pain. It can lead to chronic back pain. It can lead to chronic neck pain, because it's all connected. And so when we have weaknesses in one area, another body's part is going to have to work over. And if there's more weight put on your spine, for instance, there's a possibility that your spine will compress. And when it is compressed, it's going to compress down on a disc. And when a disc is pressed on, there's a possibility of it pushing forward, backward, or sideways. And in that position could potentially hit a nerve. Now that nerve is not going to stay quiet. It's going to let your body know by screaming and giving you a lot of pain. And that could potentially shoot down your leg. And that's going to be where your sciatica comes from. And there are so many pregnant women and so many
postpartum women or women after having kids who experience sciatica, but without the knowledge that with strengthening your abdominals, your butt muscles, your hamstrings, and getting your pelvis back in alignment, you don't have to suffer with that. So, and sometimes sciatica can show up. It's actually not a sciatica, it's a piriformis, inflamed piriformis. So that's another topic. But building your foundation, rebuilding your foundation is important after having kids for all of those reasons. But also because over time with muscles, they just will continue to weaken. And so then shit really starts hitting the fan. And for those of you who, obviously we need all of the strength that we can get because now we've got children to take care of on top of whatever we were doing before that, running our businesses, running our, community, supporting our partners, running a business, a company. So we actually need to put our wits, we need to have our wits and our tits about us for sure, but we also need to put our bits back together so that we continue to operate and function. And I look at it in this standpoint, and I talk about this in the book. I'm training for life. And what that looks like is continuous work and recalibration, strengthening and making sure that my body is at optimal function so that I can do the things that I need to do, basic things like getting off the toilet, but also going back to school and having my brain function, being able to climb a flight of stairs. It's a little disheartening to see people who struggle going up a flight of stairs. And of course, there are various reasons for this, other illnesses, sicknesses, whatever, disabilities. But if it is because of a muscle weakness or lack of exercise, that's a different story. And we want to be able to do simple things, tasks, walking, for instance, and being able to live our life as we want to. So taking care of yourself is a decision, right? We definitely have to make the decision to do it because if we half-ass it, it's not going to happen. If we don't have the proper support or the proper information, it's not going to happen. So it is a definite decision. And I feel like, it's like talking to kids. You can't convince anybody to do something until they decide to do it. And that was what took place for me. I made a choice. It is a decision to take care of myself. And that's what I decided to do. And to each their own, we decide what we want and don't want to do. For me, like I mentioned before, that's because I have a lot of things I want to do and accomplish, especially now that my kids are older. I've got the freedom and the time to do that. Now I just need to make sure that my body's keeping up with my ambition. My brain is keeping up with my ambition. So you have to think about it. What is it that you want to do in this life, in this chapter? And you can write those down as goals. In the book, I have prompts that help you to look at these questions and answer these questions. And maybe if you look at that, you're like, okay, shit. Yeah. Okay. I want to do these things. There's things I do want to do, things I do want to accomplish. So I'm going to, make the decision to take care of my strength or rehabilitate my body or take care of myself better, eat better, whatever that looks like for you. Because then the next question I would ask you in the book is, what do you want to accomplish in your life? How about in the next 5 to 10 years? What does that look like for you? And so if 10 years from now, you're like, you know what, I really want to climb the highest mountains in the world or the United States or whatever it is, which is not one of my goals. But if that's the case, there's going to be some training that's necessary, right? You're not going to just run out there and start climbing shit. You're going to need to build strength, build stamina, build muscle mass, and that's going to take time. So over time, it's adding little practices in to get to that goal. I marveled at, and you probably saw her online, Taylor Swift just finished her Eras tour, and it came out what she did in order to prepare for this tour, which, good Lord, she's on stage for 3 hours dancing around nonstop. In order to prepare, I heard that she would run on the treadmill for a period of time and sing through her entire set list in order to prep for it. And I just thought that was remarkable, but amazing. God, that woman is something in my mind, right? Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. But what would you need to do in order to accomplish that goal of climbing the highest mountain of, I don't even know, maybe it's as simple as wanting to be able to pick up your grandkids or get on the floor with your grandkids. These are all practices that need to take place because over time our body will decline muscle mass if we're not using it, if we're not building it, actively working on it. And our joints will start to hurt if we're not supporting them in various ways. So it's something that you can look at and ask yourself. In addition to training for life and building a strong foundation, there's things that you can do as far as how to support it. So one of the things that I loved in my first Pilates studio was in an attached studio to a chiropractor's office. I learned so much. And the doctor who was the chiropractor there would refer clients to me, and I would send clients to him. And one of the things that happens during pregnancy and birth is that the pelvis will become misaligned. When it's misaligned, there is more likely that you're going to have backache or hip ache, I should say, hips, low back, posture issues, incontinence issues. Incontinence and pelvic organ prolapse can be caused from a misaligned pelvis, not necessarily just because of the abdominals. It could be a combination of both. It could be one or the other. So that is something to take into account and to look into at any point, but during pregnancy and even, directly after pregnancy. I think chiropractic care is great. If you find someone who's really fantastic and wants to, what I loved about this doctor, and I at the time was under the impression that not many did this, was they wanted to see scans. They wanted to see what was going on with your body before adjusting you, which makes total sense to me. Why not look at it more deeply before you are adjusted? And there's various ways that they will adjust you too. Some will not necessarily manipulate your body, but more so manipulate the spine or use special devices that can do it gently. In another section of the book, I talk about how important the abdominals are, and I talk about each abdominal muscle. And I joke because I spent so much time during my bachelor's degree in dance and through my Pilates training, learning about the abdominal muscles, or all muscles actually, the anatomy in general. I took an anatomy class at Santa Barbara City College. It was a requirement of my bachelor's degree in dance. And I thought, at the time, it was very fascinating. I didn't quite understand at the time why it was necessary, but I am grateful for it because it helped me to understand my Pilates training a little bit more deeply, because we didn't get to work on cadavers for Pilates training, but we certainly did at Santa Barbara City College in this anatomy class. And so the abdominals support everything, and they connect to the pelvis. They surround the spine, and there's multiple layers. And so in the book, I talk about your rectus abdominis, your internal and external obliques, your lowest and deepest abdominals, the transverse abdominals, which are so important for supporting your pelvis. So the abdominal the abdominal strength is huge for supporting your body, not even just anyone who's had children, for everybody. And we don't have, in my opinion, and I'll fight you on this if you wanna, is that Pilates is the best way to get into the abdominals in a deep, deep way, because a lot of the exercises performed at the gym or other Pilates or gym equipment is only working your rectus abdominis, the top layer, your six-pack abs, and that is the top superficial layer. But if you really want core strength, deep abdominal core strength to support your foundation, Pilates is the way to go, especially if it's on the reformer, because you hit all of them. The other thing I love about Pilates is that you're just getting an entire physical workout. Their whole body is working in alignment. You've got eyeballs on you to keep your body in proper alignment so that you are hitting things equally. And if you've got one side, which we're all asymmetrical, then we can work with that. And we can work around injuries and surgeries and, pregnancy. All of the different things and modifications can be made. So that is what I wanted to share about the foundation and the importance the part of the book. I kick off with this in the book. And then in the next section, we're going to talk about the pelvic floor and its importance and what you can do to support your pelvic floor in order to avoid incontinence, pelvic organ prolapse, and other pelvic floor related issues. So thank you for joining me. I will list the book in the show notes so that you can order your copy. It will be available on all major online locations. It is available for pre-order currently if you want to go to my website and join the wait list. Otherwise, if you're listening to this after January 28th, it is available on all major online websites, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, other ones that I'm not familiar with that are out of the country, but you can find them there. Until next time, my friends, have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode.